Hello, hello. Let's get started here. I had a couple of technical difficulties here. So, is there too much info? I'm going to write this out. Monica, how are you? Is there too much info on breakups out there right now? Is there too much info on breakups out there right now? Are you having issues? I can't log in. You're coming up, so I don't know why you can't log in. It should be live. It's saying it's a live stream. As in you can't see the video, Monica? Okay, got it. This live stream game is new to me, so I'm learning as I go along, trying different times. Okay, got it. Are you having issues? That could be a big question for many different things, right? When I first read that, I'm like, what are you asking? Is there too much info on breakups out there right now? Does all this info breakups confuse you? Oh, Monica, you're the only one here right now. This is how it usually goes. It takes a few minutes to add some people in. So I'll just ask you, Monica, do you feel like there's too much info out there that it can confuse you at times? So yes, essentially a lot of bad info out there. I have a psych degree and a medical degree. Okay, so you're certified, huh? When you say psychology, like general psychology, I know you had told me you were a nurse before. ADHD, the coaches. Okay. General psychology. Okay. I always had an interest in that when I was in school. I took a lot of classes in that actually. But I found in the last few years with all the lectures that they have on YouTube, there's so much information out there now. Wow. Yeah, there's so much info. And the reason I brought this topic up, and we'll get into it more when more people join the conversation, I suppose, is that I get people that go, oh, I just watched this video and now I'm thinking this went wrong. When we've had a chat, we've talked about what happened. They seem pretty comfortable. They seem pretty clear. And then they watch one video and it's like, this kind of changed everything for them. And I'm not one of those people that's going to say like, oh, all these other people are wrong. But I think you need to go with what resonates with you as an individual. So, and this isn't one of those things where I'm looking for people to say, oh, this coach is bad or that coach is bad. Because sometimes this is what it turns into in a live stream. Like, who do you not like or don't like? But that's not my goal here. My goal is to, let me see something, because there's someone. Monica, let me ask you something, because you're the only one on deck right now in these first 3 minutes. You were saying that the live stream is not alerting you. Is that correct? No, because I have someone that just sent me a message and they're like, how do I do it? How do I go on? You didn't have your bell on. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Well, obviously I am too, right? I am too. I grew up in the Silicon Valley and I'm tech deficient too in some ways. Someone will say, oh, you got a YouTube channel. But obviously having my channel for over a year and having the subscribers I have, and people tell me all the time, why aren't you on Facebook? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And I'm like, well, doing this live stream, I'm not promoting it through Facebook or doing those things, but it's coming. It's coming along. It's coming along. It's just fine. Monica, let me ask you, Yeah, I do actually. But still, when you do a YouTube channel and stuff, it's still a lot of your stuff you're doing on your own. And just like a contractor, there's big promises made, and then it's like, oh yeah, well, we'll do this later, we'll do that later. You know what I mean? So I'd like to find someone that wants to really work. I've had actually a couple of clients that want to work on the channel because they believe in it and they like it, and I've helped them out. And especially since I've done free takes on their stories, they always are like, where can I help you? So those have been there before too. How, Monica, since you're the only individual on this first 5 minutes, how are you doing with your situation right now? Are you getting through it? I'm wondering what happened actually, because intrusive thoughts. All right, let's unpack that, Monica, since you came on deck first. Intrusive thoughts regarding them. What do you mean by intrusive thoughts? What does that mean? I let them ride like a wave. So are you saying that thoughts are popping in that you're not in control of, but then you're letting them go pretty easily? Do you have any techniques, being that you're general psychology, you got a medical background, is there any technique that you're using? Have you ever heard of EFT, emotional freedom technique, the tapping? Something like that. Yeah, well, that's a topic I could talk about. When you have a serious breakup, how often it happens that somatic psychology. Okay, I'll look into that technique. Somatic psychology. And what is that? Is there a brief way of explaining what somatic psychology is? Well, we got one more that just came on deck here. I think what happened is I made an announcement on this live stream, and then I did a live video and cut it, and then I also didn't have the original one. It's about connecting your thoughts and feelings to your body. Well, that makes sense with somatics, right? Okay, I'll look into that. I'll make a note of that actually after this. And it's worked well for you? Have you considered hypnotherapy? That's something I did before, and it helped quite a bit. I've recommended that to clients before. It's kind of been tough. What's your thoughts on hypnotherapy? It's not hokey, being hypnotherapy or emotional freedom technique, EFT, which one, or both? Okay. Well, the thing about hokey and LOL, I'm with you. Oh, hypno. I would say it depends on who you go to, because you could say there's some hokey breakup coaching going on, right? I've done it before, and it helps. It helped me. I mean, the lady that I went to, she does online stuff. It's expensive, but I was at a point, just like most people out there, where I was willing to try anything. And at that point, it's like if you try and it doesn't work, fine, you had nothing to lose. But yeah, I would say with hypnotherapy, it depends on who you go to, and it's actually simple, just like EFT is. But it's repetition, and it's getting into your subconscious. It doesn't cure it right away, but it definitely helps over time. And I can give you the name of that lady if you want to look up her website. But especially if you're going over the same stuff, How do you find a reputable one? Well, like I said, I think I have your email, so I'll give you the name of the one from San Francisco that's been practicing, I don't know, 20 years. She's an older lady. And the process is pretty simple. I mean, I've thought about myself getting certified in it because I think it's so helpful. And really, when your subconscious is running that mouse wheel over and over and over again, I think that the only way to get in there is to do something hypnotic. Really, if you study any of this stuff, the subconscious is only entered through being hypnotized. Generally speaking, when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, there's some really good books. Yeah, I'll send you the contact info. I have no problem with that. And I've worked with her a couple times, and it helps. It definitely helps. What she focuses on is letting go, and that was what was really different to me. I feel like I should be over this by now, and it's bigger than just the person. Have you read the book Man's Search for Meaning? Being that you're general psychology, that's a very common book. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, one of my favorite books. And Man's Search for Meaning, he talks about logotherapy, and that's his field, beyond just a story. And logotherapy is about finding meaning in what's going on, and that's something that I focus on in the live coachings, is finding meaning in what happened and reframing the story. I mean, sometimes when you're trying to push it away too much, it's you have to get back into. Yeah, but I'm a bigger fan of Jeff Brown. I'm not familiar with Jeff Brown. Jeff Brown, it's a simple name, isn't it? First 12 minutes here, going a little brief. I'm missing out on Jeff Brown. Okay. See, one thing I'm open to is if someone mentions someone that they work with, I'll look them up. Yeah, I'll definitely look them up. And Jeff Brown is what? What does he do exactly? I'm sorry, Monica. I'm going to check. Okay. Spiritual Graffiti. Fuck, that's a cool ass title. Great writer. All right. Spiritual Graffiti. Wow, that's a cool. I like that. I'll have to check that out. I don't have my pen and paper right next to me. Oh no, I'm not gonna miss out. I like it. I hope it's on audio. I prefer audiobooks these days. But I'll definitely check that out for sure. Thanks for the heads up. This thing is going one person in 15 minutes. Oh my God. This is the first time I've had this happen on a live stream. I think what happened is the first one got sent out and confused some people, and then just making sure that there's not two out at one time or something. Oh, here we go. There's three. Okay. State your name. Thanks, Monica. He has a cult following. I guess I've become a cult member in addition to Mac to Mac cult follower. Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. But the criminal psychologist is pretty interesting. But did you ever find that your background, does your background in psychology affect when you read something like that? When you like you're checking if it's true or not true? This is really surprising today to just have this many people. I'm surprised. This was a time that usually works for people. He writes about love, belonging. He's a little hokey, but he has a way with his words. Brand new Skinner's on deck. Yo, Skinner. Thanks for joining. It's been a slow start today, but me and Monica have been having a grand chat, and she's already put me up on a good author. And I'm going to check spiritual graffiti. Clara Bell, thank you kindly for joining. Your turn. Clara Bell, how have you been? And brand new Skinner. Your turn for what, Monica? For the other people to talk? If it continues this way for the next 15, then I'm gonna have to change the time for an hour later, maybe. East Coast is 10:56 p.m. Really? Wow. Well, thanks for joining. Clara, do you think that there's too much info out there for breakups? This is the topic that I had on this live stream. Is there too much info out there right now? Does it confuse you because there's so much info? And I know you check out other coaches because you've recommended other people that you like. I know you're a big fan of the Love Chat, which is cool. Too many coaches. You know what's interesting about that is that I think that a lot of the term coach. And I was hesitant when I first started because a lot of it is life coach, right? It's not just breakup coach. So what I would say is what are they coaching? Are they coaching everything? Are they just coaching breakups? Because my thing is I'm just helping you with breakups, but there's obviously a lot out there. And I'm just saying, does it confuse you because there's so many? We just went radio silence here with everyone on. Everyone took off. This has been an awkward live stream here. Susan Winter, yourself, and Rory at Love Chat, and Coach Kenneth. Kenneth is Kenneth Craig? Craig Kenneth, that's his name. I'm sorry. There's not enough info on moving on. More on strategy to get him back. Yeah, I agree. That's that. I'm not just saying that, but that's my approach. My approach is that to be fair to these people that are saying there's not enough info on moving on, more people want to get the individual back. So in my experience, a lot of people, like 50-60% of the people that send in stories are asking, well, how do I get them back? And they want that result. Usually after we do a live coaching, 90% of the time, we're clear that not necessarily that you need to move on, but you need to be clear on what happened. Too many no contacts, not anything on moving on or starting over. Well, out of my 500 videos, there are some stuff on that for sure. And I actually offer a nice little set of questions when I talk to people in a live coaching about that. And a lot of times it's interesting because people are so focused on the breakup and what happened and being hurt and possibly getting them back. And a lot of times it's, some people don't think that getting their ex back, how should I put this? It's ego based. It's like they just want to get their ex back to prove that they can get their ex back, prove themselves whole, and then they're not even unpacking the relationship if it was good or bad. I think it can be unhealthy to be stuck in in the getting him back phase, it can become an obsession in a way, hurting yourself. Absolutely. Absolutely. These lights are bothering me a little bit. These are light reflecting glasses. You have about thousands of coaches on no contact. I know, and it's a pretty clear thing. And it's one of those things, people fight it because you want to contact your ex. And so I think people need to be reassured about it. Thanks, Monica. They're light reflecting glasses. They come with a, see that? So it's to get the blue light out. So the alternative is to find more ways to move on. And that's difficult, right? There's some people I've talked to for months, and it's a process, it takes time. It's an interesting question, Clara, because we haven't done a live coaching before, but I'll share a couple of the questions that I asked that they're not groundbreaking in any way or anything like that. But and I might have sent these to you, Clara, but I'm not sure. Who are you as an individual? It's a really good question to ask yourself, right? Who are you? Because what happens in the breakup a lot of times is you're identifying as I'm with so-and-so, and being alone or being an individual, you're clinging to the fact of what you had and what you didn't have. And you got to get back into touch. Who are you as an individual? What can you do now that you're single that you couldn't do before? And some people go, oh, there's nothing I couldn't do before. When you're in a relationship, you're always negotiating your future, good or bad. You're always just making a decision based on who you're with, where they're headed, if it's okay with them, if it's not okay with them. Are they going to be upset if you make a decision? A lot of us lose ourselves with people we are dating. Well, this is a topic that I talked about in the last live stream about generalizations. A lot of us lose ourselves with people we are dating. What do you mean by lose yourself? Can you clarify that, Clarabelle? And this is something I would unpack exactly the way you're using these words. Lose ourselves with people we are dating, in the sense that you lose track of your identity and who you are. Because it's really important when you ask that question. It's like a lot of people identify with their job. You get to a certain age and you say, well, who are you? And who are you is an I am statement. An I am statement guides your subconscious. You're gonna prove that statement right over and over again. It's like if you said, who are you? I'd say, I'm a breakup coach. I'm a teacher. I'm a son. Okay. And those are the things that you identify with. And then from the identity, you form your values, right? And some people aren't in touch. Some people are surprised by what they say about who they are. Some people just go, I'm a good person. That's pretty broad, but that's a good thing to say. And that's why I think it's so important to really enjoy your career or your job, because we validate the person we are with. We validate the person we are with. We validate them in what way? That they're good enough for us, or we are good enough for them, or we validate bad behavior. It feels like that could be many different things. And Clara, because I've read your story a while back. Validate the person we are with, yeah. Monica and I were just talking about this. What are you having the most trouble moving forward with, Clara? Do I ever wonder why no contact is so big? That's an interesting question, because doing this and reading a lot of different stories and talking to a lot of different people, sometimes I talk to people and I'm like, you don't need to be in no contact. And some people are kind of surprised. I'm like, your particular situation based on your story and what's going on, it's not a cure all for everything and everyone. So that's why I always tell people, it depends on your story. I'm happy. I'm not sure what that means. I'm happy. Oh, you're happy with where you're at. I'm sorry, on your breakup. I got me back. Good for you. I like that. I got me back. Good for you. Well, I'm just curious because I like that you contribute to the channel, and I like getting your take and being involved in these things. I was just wondering if you were. He never came back. I'm assuming not. He never came back. And now that you're free and you got yourself back, is there some things opening up in your own life where you're going like, wow, before I didn't think I would be interested in doing this or that. Now I can see myself doing this or that. And sometimes, crisis is an opportunity. It's an epiphany. And then suddenly when you get to that point where you're like, I got me back, now I can do this. I read a blog by psychotherapy. She says you should have a funeral-like ceremony or ritual where you write a letter to yourself and that person and burn it. It's supposed to help. Wow. You know what? I'm one of those. If you tried that and you came back to me and you said it really helped you out, great. I'm not going to say, being that the person's a psychotherapist, they've talked to a lot of different people. They've gotten feedback on what might work. And it's certainly something that could work for someone that's in how serious and how much they believe in the ritual. I mean, it comes back to, whenever you're dealing with someone or you're dealing with a coach, you're dealing with one of these things, and the topic of being that there's too much info out there. It's like Clara says, she likes four different people a lot. And that's cool. I think that who resonant sounds morbid, almost like the person is dead. Well, I mean, whatever works for you and you believe in, it's fine without hurting someone, right? Without committing voodoo or something like that, right? So some person, maybe that they need to go through a ritual. Sorry, I done the work. I read more books, got to the gym, met up with new people, like power walking. Power walking, cool. You did the work. Good for you. Read more books. Yeah, you've made a few book recommendations. I know you have. And at a certain point, it's like little by little. Mac, is there anything that isn't worth forgiving someone over? All right, good question. I know you say you're not the moral police. What if someone does something very hurtful but shows genuine remorse down the line? Well, individuals forgive people different based on your own personal values. That's my point. So there's no rule for everyone. Okay. Someone can forgive someone something and you go, wow, I would never forgive someone for that. I can never look past that. So is there anything that isn't worth forgiving someone over? What I would say is, if you're in a relationship, and this is what occurs a lot, and if you're going to move forward, okay. So for example, Clara Bell, cheating, never forgive. That's her rule. That's her value. How many people out there would say, oh no, I've forgiven my husband or my wife for cheating before? It happens. Does that mean those people are wrong? No, it means they've accepted it and they move forward. And there's some people just accept cheating and turn a blind eye to it. Doesn't mean Clara Bell's wrong. It doesn't mean those people are wrong. It just means they have different values, right? And you have to figure out what your values are. Now, if you sacrifice your values, over time, you'll develop contempt for that individual, and it'll stack and it'll layer and it'll affect the relationship later on. And that's when you get in like some stupid fight about taking out the trash or something small. And then you think in your head, yeah, I remember that time you cheated, because you haven't let go of that. And it's sat in the back of your mind as like ammunition for the next time you get in a big fight. It bubbles up, it bubbles over. And then that's when you guys break up. If you're going to forgive someone, you need to forgive them all in and move forward. And sometimes that's not easy. And I think that there's certain cheating, it ruins the trust. Hard to trust again. Absolutely. Can it be overcome? Yes. Has it been overcome in the beginnings of time? Yes. Is cheating something that goes on in every culture and every sets of relationships at a certain level? Yeah. And it's something to deal with. Mating in Captivity is a really good book, and she talks about cheating in a very interesting way. I'm drawing a blank on her name. She's based out of New York, actually, Clara Bell. I think this lady that wrote Mating in Captivity. I'll just write it down. Interesting book. Is there anything you personally wouldn't forgive? Yeah, what's up, Joseph? Right on, man. Thanks for hopping in. Is there anything you personally wouldn't forgive? For me, probably cheating would be one for me. But saying that, I think there's variables involved, right? I mean, if you catch someone live in the act of cheating, it's much different than if someone said, and then let's take it a step further. What's your definition of cheating? I mean, I've had someone was telling me that they felt really bad about emotionally cheating. Has anyone, and they explained to me that they had thoughts of cheating and that they felt really, really bad. I'm here with my girlfriend. We were just talking highly about you. Well, thanks, Joseph. I appreciate that. We're just talking here about the conversations changed from too much info to is there something you personally wouldn't forgive a partner for, or you couldn't forgive? And we're just talking about, I'm saying that values. I find this ghosting is very cruel too. Well, I mean, again, what's the intent of the person ghosting you or never talking to you again? Someone stonewalling you. Why are they doing it? You know, is it a manipulative technique to get you to give in, right? Because you think about negotiation, right? When someone negotiates buying a car, and when we talked about this before, you walk away, and then that's when someone says, hey, wait, come back. It's the same. You're stonewalling the person. Have you ever said, no, I'm not interested anymore. I'm not interested. And they follow you off the car lot and they start giving you more and more and more and more. They start giving you more and more. Wait a minute. Give me your final price. No, I'm not interested. I'm done. That's a form of stonewalling. It's a form of negotiation in a lot of ways. And you know, sometimes people want to keep talking about something. You have to decide, am I going to forgive or not? Here's the thing. I'm happy to be here with a glass of wine. Well, cheers, man. Here's the thing about forgiving, right? Dun. Can you forget? Right? And I don't think you can forget, right? You could pack that up. I listened to a video today on dating app. Excellent video. Okay. But when you're asking that, brand new Skinner, is there anything personally you wouldn't forgive? I'd say off the top of my head, cheating for me. If I'm in a relationship officially together, cheating would be something I probably wouldn't be able to forgive. But saying that, I haven't been in the situation where I've caught someone openly cheating. I've had suspicions. When I'm talking about being with a girlfriend, I've had suspicions a couple times, but I don't know for sure if it was done. Now, if you don't know if it's for sure, right, it's much different. If you catch someone in the act or they blatantly tell you, I've been cheating on you, that's ground zero at another level, right? If you catch someone in the act of glass as Chianti, Classico 2015, if you catch someone in the act and they basically tell you they've been seeing their boss at work, I don't know how you overcome that. And besides that, like Clara said, your trust is gone, right? So rebuilding that trust, it's like you got to walk away from that. Now, saying that, if someone's married with 2 kids and they got a mortgage, they got kids in private school, they have all these other variables, right? Then it's not that it's much easier, it's just more to consider, right? And that's why I always tell people, you got to write your full story out to get my take. If you want to get my take and you want to really get a tailored response, then you got to write your story out and send it in and unpack the whole thing. Because whatever story you're telling yourself about your breakup is individually made, and your values are shaping what you accept and what you don't accept, right? So I know you gave me my story, and I believe I gave you my take. I don't remember your story off the top of my head. I made a video about it, right, Claire? I mean, I could look it up right now, but it's probably somewhere in my email file. Yes, you did a video. Was it okay with you? No. Here's what's interesting about sending your story. And when you send your story in for the live, well, thanks, Clara. When you send your story in for the live video response. Like, it's going to be on YouTube. And thanks, Clara, because you contribute to content on the channel, and I appreciate that. And you putting yourself out there. I think, Monica, I've read your story on a YouTube video also. And, you know, but I will say this: when you do a private coaching and you write out that story, you usually add some more details that you left out in the original story. I'm not saying that you have something to hide, but it's a little bit different. Or the private ones, because people are like, actually, I wanted to add a few different things. And so when we have the live video, it's like, yeah, you did talk about this in your YouTube video response, but I want to add a few things to the story that I didn't tell you. And that makes total sense, because this is the same thing you do with your friends, right? Or your family members. You have a breakup, you withhold information that's vulnerable, that's embarrassing, that maybe makes you look weak. And I understand that. The value in sending your story to me or doing a live coaching or doing a private one is that you can send that, you can be anonymous and hopefully divulge everything. Brand new Skinner, do you consider monkey branching cheating? I personally feel it's rooted in insecurity, but I also understand it's not easy just up and clean house. Okay, for me, I've been told monkey branching is when it's kind of like a rebound. You're going from one person to another, right? So wouldn't that be considered cheating? Oh, you like Joseph Rodriguez too, huh? AET? Well, great minds think alike. He's got a great channel. If you guys are listening out there, Joseph does book reviews, and he's got an excellent channel, excellent approach. Monica, you might like it. It's a good dude, man. Great approach to use mind maps. And in the future, I think I'm going to do some book reviews possibly and take the same approach. I'm thinking I listen to him at work as well as you. Thanks, AET. Well, Joseph, we have something in common. That's random, huh? Awesome. I will check it out. Joseph's is entrepreneur based, but actually there's a lot of books on programming your subconscious that could be applied to breakups quite easily. But he does a great job, great approach. That's really cool, AET, that you like him also. Thanks, AET. These are actually, I was telling someone earlier, they're for blue light. So these are not reading glasses. I got them off Amazon. They work pretty well. My eyes were really bothering me. Review Strength in Our Scars, Bianca Sparcino. Okay, that's not a book I've read, but I know that you have recommended that before. Hooper 502's on deck. Go Sixers. That's up to you, bud. Book one anytime you like. I'm ready for you. So 37 minutes in, I got to 10. All right. How do I forget someone? It has been a year of no contact, yet I can't forget him. Well, it depends, Tia. Depends on how long you've been together, if you're still on your own. But the idea of forgetting someone, don't fight the idea that you want to forget someone. I talked about this in another live stream. When I was in a breakup and you're going through it and it's really tough and it's weighing on you and you think, I wish I could get amnesia. I wish it was that easy. If you guys ever seen what was it called? It's one of those series where they all have superpowers, and there's a guy in it that can go and take people and give them amnesia and make them forget everything. And I remember watching that show and thinking, like, that's what I wanted during my breakup, right? But we're going to talk a little hoops right now. I don't want to get too deep in that, but I could talk hoops all day. But Tia, don't fight forgetting an individual. If you had a good relationship, be thankful that you had a good relationship. Somatic psychology, something that Monica mentioned earlier that she's working with. There's something called EFT, emotional freedom technique. Be willing to try a few different things if you want to send your story into myself and go over it. But one thing is, don't fight the idea that you just want to forget the individual, because I've said this before. You're not going to forget people that you had a connection with in your life that made you feel good about yourself. Yeah, you won't forget. Clara's right. And don't fight that. And hopefully those, if they're good memories, okay. And if you're blaming yourself, this is what happens. You blame yourself for the breakup, or you blame the other individual. You need to find a way to forgive them or forgive yourself. And that takes time. And I'll take it a step further, Tia. If you're dealing with the idea of forgetting and you're going through it, that's part of healing. You're not just jumping into a new relationship. You're healing right now. You're dealing with it up front. And find some kind of purpose in that frame of, okay, how can I make this a positive? Yeah, I can't forget him, but how can I put this in a situation? Like, I remember looking back, had this 5-year relationship, and years later talking to other people that were complaining about being in 4 or 5-year relationships or that were toxic relationships. I'm like, damn, I was really in a good place. I mean, I'm really thankful that I was in a relationship that was maybe 4.5 of the 5 years was outstanding. It was great. By the way, Mac, I put my foot down on my ex stopped seeing my dog, and he won't take no for an answer. He's been texting me, but I've ignored all texts. All right, so we can unpack it. See, sometimes it's like, do you secretly, let me ask you, AT, but does it feel good that he is making, do you still have feelings for your ex? So the fact that he still does come around for the dog, do you get a little bit excited to see him, or do you have just angst and contempt? But you know that you can basically say, if it's your dog now, it's your dog now. That's fair enough. This isn't children, right? You're not going to go to court over that. So he needs to get his own dog, or, maybe you have a party in between you that can like drop the dog off or something. You can get creative with that, I suppose. Thanks, Monica. Thanks, Monica, to give hugs to Tia. You won't forget a year of no contact. Have you heard anything from the ex? Okay, Clara's asking you that. But at some point, he made me feel worse about myself, too. Okay, so if you're holding on, excuse me. If you're holding on to something, this is very, very common. If you're holding on to something someone said at the end of the breakup that hurt your feelings, that's something you need to fully unpack, and you need to fucking ask yourself, is that true or not true? I read a really good book one time, and I can't think of it right now. And this lady said that she was working in like counseling with a church, and there was a priest, a father, and he was counseling, I think, for alcoholics and stuff like that. And she was going, well, he said I'm ugly and I'm fat and I'm this and I'm that. And he goes, well, you're a chair. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, if I called you this chair right now, what would you say? And she's like, well, I'm not that chair. It's ridiculous. He goes, exactly. So what his point was, and that really resonated, is if I call you a chair, you'll just go, well, you're nuts. You're not even going to argue. You're just going to go, Mac, you called me a chair. I don't get it, because it's not true, right? So when someone says something to you and you give power to those words, right, you can say to yourself, well, that's just not true. If you feel like it's a little bit true, how are you going to work on that moving forward, right? If something really bothers you and you feel like it's true, if someone says you're really overweight and heavy and you go, I can't believe you said that to me, take a step back and go, well, how can I work on this so I don't feel like that again? How can I take some power in this situation? This serious storm going on here. Thanks, Monica. You won't forget a year from now, but at some point, blaming is big. Self-blame is big. I know. I've been there, and it's a process, but going and talking to someone like myself, or talking to another coach, or talking to a psychiatrist, go out and be in a solution mindset. Go, you know what? I'm sick of feeling this way, and I want to unpack this thing, get to the bottom of it. And there's different ways to go about it. It's like Clara said, she started going to the gym, working out. I think you said fast-paced walking. Great. There's different avenues too, right? Made you feel bad about yourself. Why do you want this person back? Good question. I went to a psychic during my breakup. I did that too. I'm not embarrassed to say that. Great experience. I never would have done it if I didn't feel so bad. Glad I have a story to tell from it. Exactly, Skinner. Exactly. No, you know why you get a real interest in psychics? Great book, Extraordinary Knowing. I'm gonna. Extraordinary Knowing. If you want, I'm a bad speller sometimes. Great book. I thought it explores some of the things about extraordinary knowing, psychics, and different things in a academic way. It's not a hokey thing, but that book kind of turned me on. I was like, I went to a lady that I think she calls, it's not spiritual healer. I forgot what it was, but I had a phone conversation with her that was supposed to be an hour. I think it was $200 an hour, and I saw her in Extraordinary Knowing. And it was like she knew me. She didn't say like, oh, in 5 years, you're going to have a Mercedes Benz and $10 million and you're going to have 3 kids. She didn't do that. She just said some things that were like, oh, how'd you know that? It's like she mentioned some things that were a part of who I was, some of my goals on a cold read on the phone. Wow. And then we went into my breakup and everything. And basically, she was one of the motivating parts of me doing what I do now, because a lot of what she did for me in that day is what I do for people now when I talk to them in a live coaching. She didn't cure me, but I felt so much better after talking to her for 2 hours and just divulging and throwing up all these feelings and anxieties and upset things. And we went down so many different paths that the breakup was opening up. And by the end of it, it was like I had talked to an old family member or someone that knew me a while. And this is something that some people tell me. No, I'm done. AT, if you're done, that's a big statement. When you say I'm done, you're telling your subconscious like it's curtains, right? And that's when you say the dog, she says the dog needs no contact. If the dog's yours, the dog's yours. You can get a new dog that's dusted. No third party. I no longer want any contact with them. I'm ready to start dating. Now I took a year off to work on myself and clear baggage. That sounds outstanding, AT. And it's a process. It's a process. It takes time. Now you'll be ready. If you meet someone, you'll be in a good place. Like I tell people, go on bad dates. And someone's, why would I want to go on a bad date? My thing is, then you just don't go on with high intentions. If you go on a bad date, you got a story to tell. If you go on a bad date, you met someone that maybe will help you out with a job in the future. It's a contact or something like that. But if you have a bad date, I told this in another live stream, some lady was just telling me that this guy takes her out, and the first date, he goes, yeah, we're going to go to dinner, and my parents, my sister, it's a family dinner that we have every Friday night. And she's like, what? She's like, I wanted to go home immediately. She goes, the guy talked to me, and then afterwards, driving her home, he's like, can I come in? She's like, no. But the whole time she's laughing at it, because you're thinking like, who does that on a date? Could you imagine being on a first date and they take you to meet the family? Wow. And she was telling me she had a kid, and she was saying that the sister's like, oh, you're a single mom, asking all these intrusive questions. But we were laughing about it. I don't want them back, but really I want to erase my memories of them. Wish I could. Well, it's not that easy to erase memories. You could reframe them, though, and you can learn from them, right? So, and like I said before, you don't necessarily like, well, I don't want to go through a learning phase right now. I'm hurting. I'm healing. Tia, if you haven't sent your full story, and go ahead and send it in. It might be a good start for you. But it's definitely going to take some time. And it's called paradoxical intention. Instead of fighting the idea of these memories, embrace some of them. If they're good, if they're bad, you need to rewrite them. Have you ever had a sleepless night because you have to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning? It's like when I was a kid, we used to go fishing, and I'd be excited about it. And we had to get up at like 5 a.m. or something like that. And it'd be like, that'd be the night I couldn't fall asleep, because in my head, I'm thinking, I can't fall asleep. I can't fall asleep. Well, what you resist persists, right? And so if you're resisting some of these memories, they're going to keep coming. Oh yeah. What up, Coach? Mikey Mike. Thanks for joining. Awesome, AT. Thanks, Monica. I feel good about myself making that choice. Well, you should. That I remember from your story that was an issue, and I think there was something tied up, if I can remember correct, AT, with your father and I could be wrong, but your father had a business or some kind of job where he worked. They were tied together. So you had some entanglement there. And it's a really good feeling when you say, I'm done. It's like inside and that is literally the words that go through your mind. It's like, I'm done. It's like, I'm not complaining anymore. I'm not bitter. Yeah, you might have some memories still here, but you're done. And then you're like, I'm clearing the decks. I'm ready to date. And you're in a good place. Yes, you were speaking on that earlier, Mac. Too many no contact coach, not enough coaches for moving on. To take power in the situation is to not give it any power. Preach on, Mike. Great, Clara. Hitting the gym is better. I just hooked up with a different chicks and worked on myself and who I want and what I don't want. Yeah, sometimes clarifying what you don't want is important too. I didn't move the cursor down. I apologize. Thank Coach. Lots of love. Thanks, Tia. Very true. Moving on is the key point. Yeah, and there's going to be bumps on the road, as cliche as that sounds. Yes, find a way to help you move on. Listening to intuition is important. It is. Intuition is important. A good way to look at it, Mac, with bad dates. It is, isn't it? I mean, because then you have nothing to lose. And a bad date's not disastrous, right? You always have a way out. But you have a good story to tell afterwards. Like I said, some of the bad dates I went on, looking back, they led to other things. A bad date helps you learn to spot them red flags. Yes. But whenever you meet a new person and you spend some time, you listen to them, and what they do, you learn something about humanity. As deep as that sounds, that might sound like what? But I'm one of those, I'm a conversationalist and I'll sit and talk to anyone. And you might grab one or two things that later on pop up and you're like, oh shit, one of the bad dates that I went on led to me moving to Thailand and teaching. So they had planted that seed. Casual dating can be fun. A first date meeting the family is a no-no, isn't it? This girl was laughing about it though, but I mean, could you imagine? She said the guy was like, yeah, we're having a family dinner. And it takes time. Monica, H222 Sparks, run. Yep, as fast as you can. Yeah, the house. Yeah, my ex flipped my dad's. See, I remember. I have a good memory with these stories sometimes. I remember there was something to that was keeping you guys entangled, is what I would call it. The art of letting go. Well, I mentioned earlier when it was just me and Monica chatting for 20 minutes. Thanks, Monica. That there are some other techniques. Hypnotherapy is one that I tried and it worked well for me. She thought it could be hokey. There's a lady, if you guys want to go to her website, let's mention it for everyone. She does hypnotherapy out of San Francisco and it's expensive. And it's a simple process, but her base is, so you could just Google Kay Heatherly. She's based in San Francisco and maybe look at her website. And she does EFT and you guys can look up EFT's emotional freedom technique. It's tapping and affirmations. And if you're having a lot of trouble moving forward, Live It Up, Colby. I can't remember her last name. Oh, I checked a song out too. It's called Live It Up, Colby. I can't remember her last name. Was this for when I had the breakup songs? Is that what you're talking about, Mike? When I divulged the breakup song that used to come up on and on, Big Girls Don't Cry. And you were like, wow. But it spends good energy. Yeah. Isn't it funny though? Like in the moment, that breakup song, it was when I was saying that, Tia, because you weren't in this other chat about, a breakup song at the time that resonated with you. And I was telling everyone that I was Fergie, who I don't dislike. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. And what is it? Black Eyed Peas are very popular, but I'm not into them per se. And that song "Big Girls Don't Cry" was like a top radio song when I was in my breakup, and it felt like, oh, that's what my ex is saying to me, right? And looking back on it, it's just funny, you know. And it's not a song where I'm like, oh, I want to listen to that again. That song was so popular. Hippie chick. All right. Right on. Well, I'm glad I waited this one out, Monica. We were on for 20 minutes, just two people. Yeah, Colby Calais. I remember that song. I remember that one. That was a good song. I checked out the lyrics back and it applied to me in my breakup. Which song, AET? You talking about the Big Girls Don't Cry? The Fergie song? Hippie chick, laugh out loud, coach. I mean, because that song, the way she's talking about a breakup and she's saying that she had to move on for herself and see what else is, growing up and different things. And I was just like, oh yeah, this sounds like what I know my ex is thinking. Like A River Runs by Bleachers is a great song for breakups. Okay. Needed to find myself and be on my own. And, that can go both ways with different people. It comes down to timing and circumstances. And timing and circumstances are probably 60, 70%, especially if you're in a relationship where you're in your 20s, because learn how to mow my own grass, coach. Okay. Especially when you're in your 20s, I think when I broke up with my ex, she was 25, I was 28, but she hadn't really went out and partied. She hadn't had a career yet. And that definitely applied to where she was at. She was, taking up some drinking and going out quite a bit that wasn't very good for a relationship long term. But that song, when I thought of it in a positive way, I'm like, well, you got to find yourself. What's it? They say something about letting go. She says something like, you're like a blanket, you're like a baby's blanket or something like that. I forgot what it was. I had an itch to travel, so that was part of the reason why I broke up, and I needed to find out who I was, what my values were. Well, that's what I said. Like, when you break up, you open up the floodgates to do whatever you want. You no longer have to negotiate. I mean, if you were with someone would think like, oh, she just left me to go travel. No, it was probably a little bit deeper than that. There probably was something about that relationship that intuitively you just felt wasn't right. And you felt like, like that voice inside's going like, I don't want to be with this person forever. I don't want to be with them for the next 10 years. And this was a topic that came up. I did a brief live stream yesterday, about an hour, and it was a time frame where we had less people. And yes, you're spot on, Mac. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, you go and do that, but you just have this feeling where you're like, someone says something, you're like, yeah, no. I remember I lived in San Diego for years, and then I moved back to my hometown, and it was cool and everything, but I always had this little gut feeling like, I don't want to live here forever in my hometown. Like the Bay Area, there's a lot going on there. It's a great economy, had great opportunities, but deep down inside, I was like, I don't want to be one of these people that live in the same place you went to high school and you just see the same people all the time. And I had good friends. It wasn't like you're like, oh, I don't want to see these people. And everyone I would see around, I'd be like friendly with, but I had this itch in my head. Like, I don't want to be in the same place forever. Even now, I'm like, I'll probably move somewhere else new one or two more times. What's up, hippie chick? When I broke up, I was broken, but after I got on my feet and moved forward, I was better off because this person was a downbringer. Yeah, there are people that are in bad places, and I was just talking to someone about this. They were having trouble in a relationship, and they were saying that, so when I asked them more questions, they were saying, oh, well, he's been out of work for 6 months on disability. That's going to affect your relationship 100%. She was kind of overlooking that part, thinking like the guy was for different reasons. An individual, their job, their career, their purpose, that's a big part of how you feel about yourself. And it absolutely will affect your relationship. and bleed over into overreacting and being bitchy. All my so-called friends are with my so-called friends that either moved away, you know, or when you joined the military, died, or went to jail. Wow, Mike, that's deep. I'm sorry to hear that, bud. That's deep, Mike. Wow. Well, I mean, when you get to a certain age, and everyone's different age here. I mean, I'm 38 now. You know, I got my set of friends that I went to high school with, and I went away to another place to go to college. So I lived in San Diego for a bit. Now I've been a teacher for a while. I worked in real estate with a lot of older people. And I got friends from all those different groups, but I don't know, you know, it doesn't mean the 5 people that you spend the most time with are the ones that affect you in the present, right? Um, what's really interesting about doing what I'm doing now is the connections you make with people at one time in a live coaching, right? Because having someone intently listen to you with intensity and interest will connect you for a long period of time. People 6 months later are like, hey, Mac, I just want to give you an update. And they want to tell me about what's going on in their life because they shared a lot. What do you teach? Currently, public speaking and creative writing. But it varies term to term. Let's guess. Public speaking is my favorite course. And I wasn't into public speaking when I was in college. At Mesa, by the way, AET, I went to junior college at Mesa because I know you're from Diego. Cool. I want to onto marketing. I know you know Mesa, yeah, Claremont's finest. Actually, I was one of those students when I was young. I always worked full time. I was, you know, paying my bills and doing that, and I went to school full time to part time. But I went to junior college for like 3 or 4 years. I was always taking extra classes, and I would take classes out of interest. I got a bunch of anthropology classes I taught, and I got a history degree. So I wanted to be a history teacher. I was a news reporter in my early 20s. That's pretty cool. What's the scoop? Remember the movie Fletch? Newspaper writing is not very creative. No, I don't think so. And to be fair, creative writing at the core. Well, I'm not going to get into this because it's all in breakups, but at the core of the, you know, when you teach a class like that, you can't teach 100 different things. You want to teach maybe 3 or 4 different concepts, but the hero's journey and the style of writing a story like that is a big part of creative writing, I think. During my breakup period, I was all on my own. I had very few friends. Then I understood who my real friends were. I lost contact with others, so-called friends. I'm better without them. Okay, well, let's unpack this a little bit to you, because what about automatic writing, Mac? I'm not familiar with automatic writing. I'm sorry. All right, let me unpack Tia's thing, and I'll get down to that. So during my breakup period, I was all on my own. I had very few friends. Well, when it rains, it pours, right? And then I understood who my real friends were. I lost contact with other so-called friends. I'm better without them. Well, here's the thing, and this is really interesting because this will go on, and this has to do with getting too much information, which was the topic of this. But you can get too much information from friends, but I'll take it a step further. Sometimes when you're really down, right, and you're in a breakup, when I was talk about this all the time, the breakup 10 years ago, because this was the most traumatic I was in at that time. There's some people that just don't know what you're going through. Okay. You know, the way your breakup went down, they can never feel that based on your life experiences and where you're at. It's like when I look back at my breakup, it wasn't just about my ex. It was about other things in my life that weren't right. There were some family issues going on. There were some work issues going on, and it just flooded into everything at once. Now, there were some friends that were good friends, but they weren't good friends to talk about the breakup because they were in relationships already and they just wanted you to feel better, go out and hook up with someone and get over it, or do this, do that, and get over it. They didn't really want to listen because ignorance is bliss. They had never felt that way before. They couldn't relate, or they didn't want to deal with it. Or there's some people that go, yeah, I've been through a breakup before. It sucks. I did this, this, and this. Try that. So there's certain individuals that are more capable of helping you out based on their past experience or their level of compassion. So those friends necessarily weren't bad friends. They were bad friends during a breakup, and they didn't even know it probably. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Because I remember I've said this before, there was a friend of mine that was like, I think you need to lower your standards. And I was like, fuck you, in my head, like, where's this coming from? But what he meant was, looking back, he just wanted me to hook up and, stop being sad. Right. But that was a time I took that statement completely in the wrong context. What about automatic writing? Like I said, I'm not familiar with that hippie chick. I want to try dating apps, but keep hearing it's not that great. I've heard some people that like them and some people that don't like them. So if you try them and you like them, I'll say this. I think as a woman, you'll get a lot more hits than just a random guy. I don't know enough about the dating apps to tell you what's good and what's not. And it's purely opinion based, right? But the other thing is, I always mention, if you're going to start dating again, think about who you want to date. Write out the kind of qualities you want for you and a guy. Kind of write them out to get an idea. Then think about demographics, like where would this person hang out or be? Not so you could stalk them, but like I said, I always use the example of yoga. Yoga is nice because you get into a class. There's 5, 10, 15, 20 people. And if you're into fitness or you're into mindfulness or you're into meditation or you're a vegan, you find some like-minded people that are kind and open, and maybe you want to date one of those people, or they have a friend or family member, stuff like that. Be in a team or a group. If you're, if you're into drinking wine, go to wine festivals. Think about the demographics where the people that you would like. It's like, for me, in my past over time, generally speaking, I've met people through work, because that's how you get to know someone before you date them, right? And you become more and more attracted to them. Or school. Tia, that's tough. Okay, it's like brainstorming. Okay. If I'm going to brainstorm, I like using mind maps, which Joseph Rodriguez uses on his channel if he's still around. I recently had a friendship go south, and the funny thing is, I'm using the same tools to get over that friendship. I recently had a friendship go south, and a funny thing is, I'm using the same tools to get over that friendship. I'm not sure I understand. Breakups are so painful. The thoughts are so damn intrusive when it's fresh. It is. Like I said, you wish you could get amnesia. The best thing I did was I just went for hard runs, and I wasn't into running before that. I was into basketball. I changed up my routine, but that didn't cure me. It helped. And then I went to libraries instead of coffee shops, and I just liked the quiet and the calmness of a library to look at a book, or, so find some different places, change your routine, but stop looking for a cure and start looking for ways that you can cut down the extremeness of it. The worst thing you could do is sit on the couch and just veg. That's why it's so important to do internal work. I would say also that, when you're in that moment, if you have the opportunity to try some of these things like hypnotherapy or sending your story in, these different things, solution-based mode, don't be EFT, all these different things, try them. $9 months. Well, AET, how long were you together? Here's the thing. It's like, people are like, how long is it going to take? Well, if you were together 5 years and you lived together, it's going to take like a year probably, because you were connected. If you look at have you ever been with someone and you know what they're thinking? And I don't mean you're a psychic. All right. This is not kinesis, or, but they're like, oh, you're like, oh, let's go to this movie. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's because you're connected. It's not by fucking accident. And when you're like that and you break up, you're still connected. Yeah, true, Coach Mac. It's not a cure to get under someone to get over them. Not true. Yeah, true, Coach. It's not a cure to get under someone to get over them. Not true. But working on myself made me feel good about myself. Yeah, it's a process. All my friends have tried it, but keep getting ghosted. Are you talking about dating apps? All your friends have tried it and got ghosted? Yeah, I wrote out what I'm looking for in my journal. I mean, this is one of those things that when I tell you to do that, you could find that on many, self-improvement things and stuff like that. But how many people actually do it? Because you really need to get clear about what you want, because we're always clear about what we don't want too often. I would love someone who loves music. That's pretty broad. I would write down the specific kind of music you like. Doing this and meeting different people, I'm always like, it would be fun to matchmake, but you guys all live around different parts of the world. I'd be like, oh, you should meet so-and-so. But you can't tell people's AET, plenty of local meetup groups for music. Okay. Journaling is brainstorming for me personally, aka automatic writing. When I write it down, I visualize it. Cool. Over the years, I'm working. Visualizing is powerful. Yeah, Monica. How are you holding up in your breakup? Okay, I'm 9 months in and getting better, but still have those thoughts. So you both are at 9 months. 6 years. Okay, 6 years and a dog. And he's close to your father. That's going to take time. 9 months to a year. Yeah, sure. This is about the time you've healed up a lot of your wounds probably from it, and it's time for you to get out there again. And I just think that things have changed as far as the things have changed with dating apps and social media. But you don't want to get into a generalization, which was a topic that I talked about yesterday, where you're like, oh, dating's so difficult now. No, it's not. As soon as you put that kind of generalization on it, then you're giving yourself a way out. Oh, all dating apps don't work. Like I said, one of my really good friends who's married now, he met his wife online, and he'll tell people that's how we met. Ended up getting married. They've been married 4 or 5 years, got a kid. Keep comparing them to him. Well, the comparisons I think that even when you get someone that you like and you care about, you're still going to compare what they have and what they don't have. And I've told people before, if you had a relationship that ended bad, where someone had a bad habit like drinking or smoking, and then you get with the new person, you're like, oh, this is great. They don't drink too much. So there's always going to be there's always duality to everything. There's always going to be something about the new person that you like better than you liked in the old person or the ex. The idea that the ex can't be equal just isn't true. If you're not ready, you're not ready. Okay, so they got ghosted. I wouldn't go on that just because of your friends, because I don't know what happened in those individual cases. But the dating apps is a numbers games, right? A numbers game. And one thing I've talked to people about on the dating app is if you start dating someone and they still have their profile posted and they're still getting all this, I guess there's some variables to it. Seems like you're not ready, Monica, to not break up for a good reason. We broke up on my birthday of last year, April 8th. That's dramatic. Well, happy birthday. Happy late birthday. Yes, he has internal things to work on. Wasn't willing to open up. Like I always tell people, some people aren't meeting you halfway. It's not going to work. We got together on my birthday of April 8th, 2012, and broke up on April 8th, 2018. What's a DH, hippie chick, or being a DH? Yeah, let him work on himself, Monica, and just keep moving forward, doing what you love. Yes, exactly what I'm doing. Hard not to care. Good, you are still in contact with him, Monica. I don't think I do know what a DH is. Really? What's with all these abbreviations? Okay, a DH. To me, it's a designated hitter from baseball. So if you tell me when we have these, remember someone said NSA? Hippie chick, you are funny. Could be a darling husband. Oh, I know that's what DH is. TSA. I'm honest when I don't understand something. It's like being a teacher. It's like ask questions when you don't know what's going on. That's one thing. It's like people. That's one thing that's very, very valuable is when someone tells you they don't understand or they don't know what you're talking about, and actually ask, like, what does that mean? Instead of going, oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that. A lot of people do that now. Like, oh yeah, do you really know? Do you really know what I'm talking about? It's morning here. I just woke up and joined you. Thanks, Coach Mac, and thank you all. No problem, Tia. Wish you all the best, hon. Wish you all the best. It's been an hour and 15 minutes here. And I know it's late over there. Richard Cranium. Who's that? Richard Cranium. I'm not sure who that is. Duckhead? I know what cranium is. Oh. Duckhead, I don't know. Okay. I think that everyone's been telling me that you got to really be careful on YouTube now with your words. So maybe I should cut back the swearing. My dad, my grandfather, everyone's a truck driver, so we're all the F word, and these words have just been, yeah. You should definitely go to Thailand. AET. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. Great people. Definitely a lot cheaper than living in California. Yeah, I never knew Richard Cranium means that word. I never knew Richard Cranium is a. Well, that makes sense because Richard is Dick. Okay. I'm learning really, really interesting stuff from Hippie Chick here. Thank you so much. Going to see it. Lots of love to all. We'll email you book title, Mac. Absolutely. Thanks, Monica. Thanks for riding with me those first 20 minutes. That's why I was talking in code. Hello. Yeah. I'm just being, well, if I don't understand the code, I got to tell you I don't understand it, right? So, sorry. Heard your last two stories, Mac. Good. You got back to the video response only. Yeah, I have a few clients. I think I lost some subscribers with these live streams because they like seeing the video responses. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do those. They take more time, and thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, I have a client that he was telling me that's your main dish. He wasn't really happy with he's like the live streams. Yeah, no. Because I guess they, unless you contribute and you're in the live stream, it's not really fun to watch this after the fact. AET, you came a little late. So what's your gear of missing out? Yeah, makes sense. Oh, fear of missing out. AET and Hippie Chick, do you think there's too much info out there on breakups? Oh, wow. You're in the city by the bay. The city by the bay. Frisco. I'll be there. Well, I won't be in Frisco per se, but I'll be in California in all of May. Not enough breakup information out there, Hippie Chick? Wow. My question was, does it confuse you all? Do you think that someone after his or her mother's death will be vulnerable for I went to an empowering even in Oakland. I'm sorry, I don't understand that, AT. Do you think that someone after his or her mother's death will be vulnerable for suggested breakup? Well, I think anytime someone's mother passes away, they're going to be vulnerable to a lot of things. Now, if someone's intentions to take advantage of that, you're not a very good person. So if you somehow think I'm not saying that about you, but I mean, absolutely, isn't someone going to be vulnerable when their mother passes away, or they're just going to close people out? I don't even want to think about that for myself. Mom, I went on Aldrin Duarte. Coach, my ex and I are on a break for 7 months now. We never broke up. She has not blocked or unfriended me from social media. Some advice says I should move on. Some videos say go no contact. Women's empowerment in Oakland. Hippie chick, you might like that based on your name. Was it good, AET? It seems like a broad thing there's probably a lot of people from Berkeley and stuff. Coach, my ex and I are on so what must I do? First of all, sometimes people ask me like, what should I do? I'm going to tell you some options and some things to think about, but I don't like telling someone exactly what to do. You should have free will. Coach Mac, my ex and I are on breakup for 7 months now. We never broke up. You're on a break for 7 months. So whatever that means, she has not blocked or unfriended me from social media. Some advice says I should move on. Some videos say go no contact. Well, you're in a gray area because you're like, we never broke up. We're on a break. But how often do you guys talk when you're on a break? To be on a break for 7 months, I would say it's curtains for now. But the idea that like, oh, we're just on a break right now. Who takes a break for 7 months? What was the situation? What's the reality of the situation? What's your intentions? What do you want to do moving forward? Right? I would have to know your full story to give you advice on that and know exactly what happened and what you're telling yourself and what you want to happen. Yeah, it was good. It was all women that attended. I don't think many men would go to a women's empowerment event in Oakland. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, thanks. Is that all you needed, Aldrin? Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, if you're 7 months in a break, I think it's time to move on. I think it's time to go into no contact and move forward because you're in a holding pattern, right? I mean, you're stuck in a space where you're not getting what you want either way. So might as well open up and start moving forward. And then if you pull away, that I actually had written to you before and you made a video on my story too. Okay, was it helpful or useful info? Throw a like in there, bud. You said she wouldn't. I remember your name. I don't remember your exact story. Be back anytime soon. And she hasn't, right? So I don't remember it off the top of my head. But she would if you cut off contact. Coach Mac is so pop. What does pop mean? Oh, you mean like pop music? People always ask this. This got into a topic a couple of days ago. Which breakup coaches do you like? Probably Corey Wayne. The guy from the love chat seems cool. The other people, I don't really follow them. Popular talk is so pop. Hippie chick, how old are you? Am I way off because of my age being 38? Yeah, I like Roy from the love chat. A lot of people like him. I think he's got a great voice and a great platform. I've said before, Clara Bell, who was on here earlier, really likes him and was trying to get me to reach out to him to maybe do a collaboration. And I was saying that I felt like he gave me a little bit of a bad review, but you know, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But I would say, yeah, being that I'm not in a breakup right now, I don't go out and listen to him. Everyone says the dating guy's good. So feedback from clients that I've had, Okay. Is so pop. Okay. Clients I have generally say that they like the dating guy and love chat quite a bit. Um, and they like me, or they like Corey Wayne. Those are the people that I tend to hear people group me in with, which is a compliment. Someone told me that someone just left a comment and said that in one of the live streams recently that Rory from the Love Chat said, I'm a discounted Corey Wayne. And the guy said, well, I thought that was vain. I said, well, I'll take that as a compliment. Okay, whatever. But you only listen to me and Rory. All right, well, cool. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. Rory, the thing about some of these other ones, I'll be honest, I haven't been consistent. Rory's on Facebook. He does these meetups. He does all these things. He's organized. And I've been one of those. I've just concentrated on, if you sent your story in, I'm going to review it and I'm going to tell you my take. I'll take it as a compliment. Fine. So my focus was coming into this is like, send me your story. I'll give you my take and I'll just keep churning out videos. And now I'm getting to a point. Oh, really? He doesn't have social media. Okay. I didn't know that. So he's just like me in that way. But he seems to like do his videos regularly. He's been doing live streams more regularly. He numbers everything, which is good. I think it's well done. Like I said, his voice reminds me of some guy that used to do like an oldies station. Remember oldies back in the day? Okay, only YouTube. All right. Because that's when you have a channel like this and you have friends, everyone's like, you got to do Twitter, man. You got to do Twitter and you got to like have everything out there. Art LeBeau. I don't know who that is. Is that someone else that has a YouTube channel? Thinking about who you like. I like Joe Rogan, but theirs aren't necessarily breakup coaches, like I like Tim Ferriss podcast. Those are great interviews. Those are people I like. Art LeBeau. There used to be, well, you're not from the Bay Area. You said you lived in the Bay Area. And this guy was named, I think his name was like Larry. And he just had like, yeah, and today we're just going to get in some of those oldies. We're going to go way back. Way, way back. And I always feel like Rory has that, hello, this is Rory from the Love Chat. And today we're going, and what's great about what he does is, he always says that he's backed by science and stuff. And it's one of those things where part of the intrigue is that he leaves an open loop because you're thinking like, what does this guy look like? I want to know what he looks like. So part of you watching him is I've seen people before, maybe, and I wasn't a part of a live chat, but I've seen people before like, oh, when are you going to show your face? Are you going to show and that intrigues people, right? Like, well, I wonder what he looks like, dedicated to you or your oldies but goodies. I used to love oldies, the oldies station. Well, I think Hippie Chick, everyone likes Joe Rogan. He's pretty well-rounded. He's a smart dude. He blazes. He's just got a lot. He's just got a lot of different things going. He's honest. I think that's what a lot of people. I don't know Art LeBeau. No. Yeah, he's just and he'll admit when he's wrong. When he doesn't know something. Does good interviews, asks good questions. If you ask me what I'd really want to end up doing is something like Joe Rogan. I'm not saying I'm Joe Rogan. I have my own lane, but I would love to do something where I interview people that aren't necessarily famous or successful and talk to them about their breakups and like what's transpired in their life, because everyone's got some interesting stories, man. That you don't just have to be a fucking millionaire or someone famous. And some of these people aren't even that interesting or special. You know what I mean? I got some friends that I've met through traveling and living abroad that would be great interviews and highly interesting. And then base it on like, let's hear about your breakup. Like, wouldn't you like me to interview Joe Rogan and talk about like, Joe, so tell me about one of your worst breakups. I'm sure he'd have a story to tell. I'm sure he would. An interesting one. And it makes people realize that someone like that's so successful, well-rounded, centered, stoic, whatever you want to call him, he's been through the shit too. Yeah, everyone wants to know what Rory looks like. he's a behavior, and yeah, that's what he hangs his hat on all the time. That he tends to feel like he's above some of the other breakup coaches for that reason, right? But the thing is about behavior analysts and those things, you can watch quite a few videos and you can do a lot of research on YouTube and you can learn a lot about it. But like I said, that platform, it intrigues people, that draws a lot of people, that having a really cool voice like that and not being able to see who it is, that's actually probably something that he considered as a behavior analyst, knowing how psychology works. Joe Rogan goals. Okay, catch you later too. Yeah, we're dwindling here at an hour and a half. Let's see how it goes. I'll hang on for another. Is it 11? Okay, 10 minutes. I got a live coaching at 1. This was good. This ended up being okay. We had some good chats here. Any people got some questions here? I'm opening up the mic. Thanks for contributing, Hippie Chick. Always a pleasure. It's late over there in the States. Radio silence. Off the decks. We got three left on deck. AET, maybe you should consider starting your own YouTube channel and your own show. Maybe you do a travel something. Shawn Michaels. Well, welcome. I'm going to stay on. I'm going to try to make it 2 hours. If there's enough people that come back on, we got 3 on here, if that's accurate. Mac, would you ever take back an ex who dated someone else? I think that when you're saying that, in other words, it's my ex, so they dated someone else while we were broken up. I would say I was open to that. If it was like my best friend or my family member, I don't even really consider myself to have one best friend, but I mean someone that I was really close to, then that would probably bug me and I wouldn't be able to deal with it. That's a whole nother interesting topic, right? Is that if it's someone close to you or someone it makes it worse. But if it's someone I didn't know and we were broken up, I mean, then they have a right to do that, and I have to come across that road at some point. And the fact is, if we were broken up, I dated someone else, but they have a complete right in the time between us breaking up and being single to see someone else. I probably wouldn't want details. You got any questions, Shawn Michaels? You're planning on moving out of the city. Is that what's going on with you right now, AET, with these dog visits? All right, let me just. I'm sorry, I just got a random message off Google Hangouts. There was someone that wanted to be on the live thing. What if your ex was still coming around to you while with someone? Well, if we're on a friendly basis, then that's up to them. If we weren't on a friendly basis, or I wouldn't want to hear about who they were with. I don't think that if I had a relationship with someone, I definitely wouldn't want them like holding hands and being around me. It would just be uncomfortable. But if I was at a place where I was married or I was with my girlfriend and I was completely fine with that, I just wouldn't want it rubbed in my face. I mean, I think you can tell people's intentions when they're with someone, but if they were getting gaga, goo-ga, and being all intimate around me, no, that would not be comfortable. In my experience, if you were together 6 years, I was together 5 years, I think you need a year or two of just not seeing each other. Yeah, I saw that he was seeing his student. I think he rebounded, but still coming to my house to get my dog and would get comfortable. Well, you should say F that. Because that's putting anytime you're, like, you talk about your intuition and your gut feeling, if that's putting you in a position to make you really uncomfortable, then you got to take your power back and go, you know what, this isn't serving me. It's not fair. And I don't want to know about who he's with. If you were together 6 years, you're still going to have feelings around him, and it's going to be awkward if he's seeing someone else. And if he's being casual about it, no bueno. Sean, hope it will be for my good. Yeah, it made me uncomfortable and it pushed me to move on. Yeah, if you have that uncomfortable feeling and it's awkward, then yeah, it's time to move on. It's time to say, I don't want to see it. And if he's, like I said, if he's feeling like casual, he's got his arms up on the couch and he's getting himself a drink and he's acting like no big deal, he's putting himself in a situation where he wants to leave the door open with you. He wants you to, and it sounds like, and he's in a comfortable place where he can't lose because he's already seeing someone else. And if you asked him about it, so put yourself in a position where you're not like that. But he's still trying to stay connected to me and my family. That's an interesting dynamic, to stay connected to your family. I mean, if they were close and he helped out and he did some things, he has a right to do that. But there should be a line. What's your take on Corey Wayne's book? Good book, okay book. I've read it before. I've actually done a review on my channel to talk about it. Reading it 10 times, I understand the reason for reading it 10 times. Someone was like making a joke that they were a huge Corey Wayne fan and that they read the book, but they didn't read it 10 times. And I started laughing. But if you do want to learn something verbatim, like people read the Bible over and over again and make it a part of your life, reading it 10 times, he has a point that's very good in the sense that it'll be second nature to you. So I understand his point. That's not bullshit. So if you read his book 10 times or 7 times, it's going to resonate with you and it's going to be automatic. So that does make sense. The material that's in the book is useful. Are there other books out there to compare with it? Yes. Yeah, it made me uncomfortable and it pushed me away. Louise L. Hi, coach. My ex is ignoring my text. Should I give him some space, a few weeks, and text him again to see if he's okay? Or should I go pull? I want a reconciliation. If your ex isn't ignoring your text, that's a sign they're not interested in talking to you. And don't give him some space. Give yourself some space. A few weeks and text him again. I wouldn't text him again if he's ignoring you now. You're being annoying at this point if he's ignoring you, to see if he's okay, or should I go full contact? I would suggest you go full no contact. I would need to know more about your story, but in this particular situation, just because you want reconciliation doesn't mean you're going to get it. If you want reconciliation and someone's ignoring your text, by tapping them on the shoulder and saying, hey, I want to talk about it, isn't going to change the idea that they don't want to talk to you. Take your power back, move forward, put your energy into other things. But he's still trying to stay connected to me and my family. We talked about that. Don't take her back. Don't be someone's lifeboat. AAT is a woman, Sean. And she's... Yeah, you're right, Sean. Any more questions here? Shawn Michaels, you've been watching the channel for a while. Thanks for joining, bud. I've done your story before. Louise L., I've done your story. I don't know. Okay, great chat, Matt. Catch you on the next one. Thanks, hon. Thanks for asking good questions, AET. Wish you all the best. AET, if you want to send an email about a specific situation or something, feel free to do so. Shawn Michaels, him. Okay. We're waning out here. 1 hour, 40 minutes. I think it's about that time to go get breakfast. Any closing questions? Any closing questions? Anyone out there have a closing question they want to hop on? Anyone else? No? Appreciate the likes. Please appreciate everyone contributing. No, we just went radio silence here. So I think it's Shawn Michaels. These days, I think a relationship is like a bad movie with a good trailer. Don't fall for the hype. That's a generalization. I talked about generalizations. Don't do that. Not all relationships are the same. That's not going to serve you moving forward, okay? When you start telling that story to yourself, then you're going to make it true every time. So you had a bad relationship with a faulty trailer 1 time, 2 times. All right, we only got 2 left here on deck. This is I think I need to start this a little earlier and program it. Anyone else? Anyone else? Final question? No. All right, I'm going to close this out. Thank you kindly. Thanks for joining Shawn Michaels, AET, everyone that was out there. It's been a pleasure. When will be the next live session, Mac? I might do one later on tonight. I'm not sure. This one didn't have as many people as I usually have. I got up to 8 or 9. Usually it's up to 20 sometimes. So it's time zone thing. I will post it. I will post the next one on the schedule. So you can look it up. It'll be on my channel. I'll do that today. So hope that helps, Sean. You got a closing question, Sean? Anything I can help you with otherwise? No? Okay. Signing off. Peace.